Started. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Here's Johnny. I'm also known as Cajun Roots Reseller here, and I have our guest today. I have DC Picker John and the Kelly Hustle Calvin. I want to first
Yo,
start welcome everyone into the chat. We start with Tech Check Tom Curry. Welcome. Robert Krennick. Welcome. Never Ending Saga. That's Kevin. Welcome. Let's see here. KJ. Welcome. And then we have Larry LL Stash. Larry, KJ, Queen Cleo, welcome. Make sure I don't miss anyone. Lisa C, welcome. The Reseller King, welcome. And I want to tell you, everyone, he was my first place winner. He finally reached out to me, and his package is on his way. He was the first place winner of my 500 giveaway.
nice.
Yeah, I got one more left to claim their prize. All right, everyone. What we'll do is we'll go run the chat and introduce yourselves, tell everybody a little bit about yourselves, and we'll go ahead and get into the live. Go ahead, John. You can go ahead and start.
Okay, cool. My name is John. I go by the DC Picker here on YouTube and Instagram. I am an eBay seller. I've been selling on eBay since 1999. I predominantly do thrifting, a little bit of garage sales, and I have a guy. I actually have a couple guys. Some of the familiar things that we all do as resellers.
Yep.
And I host a podcast / live stream every Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it.
And I thank you for being able to be here today.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Yeah, Johnny, appreciate you having me on. My name is Calvin. Social media, everything, the Kelly Hustle. I'm active more so. Actually, I haven't been too active lately, but probably Instagram and YouTube are my two main things. But I've been reselling for a little over a year and a half now. I just went full time in March. A lot of different factors played into me going full time. So, I was kind of fortunate enough to do so. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much just put content out there right now of me and just me documenting whatever I'm doing as a reseller. That's pretty much it for now.
All right. I want to also welcome Frank Hall into the chat. We also have Record Crate. He actually did he made the 500 the same time I did last Wednesday on Victoria's channel, which is in Reselling.
Nice.
Tommy Bernard, welcome.
Tommy.
I always say your name wrong. Let's see, did I miss anyone? I think I got everybody. All right, so anyone, if you're not sure who's in the chat, so if you haven't met them before, what we do is I want to make sure, if y'all would for me, type something in the chat, John and Calvin. I want to make sure you have the Rich, because what we do here is with us collaborating and networking with each other, we make sure we try to drop our links to our chats, our channels. And I see you already right there, so we'll give you yours. And this is what's going to help with if you want to share either platform you might sell on. If you do selling on any particular platforms, you're more than welcome to drop those out if you want to advertise that. You can also put your links in the chat for your YouTube channels.
Awesome.
And basically what we do is we want to make sure we keep positive. I want to welcome each and every one of y'all into the chat. And also, if you have any questions for Calvin or John, go ahead and put them in the chat. If you would put at Cajun Roots so I can see them. That way I can also make sure I get to your questions. And if I don't, usually Robert, when he's in the chat, he will let me know that someone's had a question. So I'll ring into that one. Let's see. I'm Brad. Welcome. Just simply Dana. Lady Luck Junk. That's Danica. Thank you for coming. Welcome. All right. So if any of y'all have questions, please put it in the chat. And also I want to remind everybody that I do my lives here on 5:30 Eastern on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then on Saturdays, I do them at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And Larry LL Stash is my co-host on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
This Friday, I will be on Queen Cleopatra and Adventures in Reselling as a guest on their live auction. And this week, this Friday, Wednesday, I'm also going to have. This Wednesday coming, I'm going to have Joey the Bada Bing 22 and his girlfriend Destiny. They'll both be on the channel on this Wednesday.
Good dude. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's hard to get him down and in a point to what time he can get here, but he finally got in touch with me and we did that. I want to welcome Debbie Does Sales. If y'all don't know who that is, she does live. She just started this past week on doing her own live auctions. And so if you get a chance, Debbie, don't forget to put your link in the chat so they can check you out. So I'm going to go ahead and starting the start of some questions maybe to see if we can get the chat involved.
Yeah.
First of all, John, what got you started? And I also want to bring into touch with, in case somebody doesn't know about you, my first channel video that I watched about you was when you were doing the cast iron pots.
Yes.
A year ago is when I remember first watching you, and I only started, like I said, in November. Yes. But I was watching the YouTube channels back in June before that. So what got you to start doing
that? I think that there's always... I think anybody who says some of the bigger YouTube resellers weren't an influence on them in some sort of way would be fibbing. We do interesting things. So I have an Instagram. It's a pretty decent size for a reseller account. And I wanted to, I made a typical reselling Instagram account where I was like, this is what I'm doing. And it kind of floundered. It just was kind of there. And some people would watch and some people would like. And when I transitioned my Instagram from this is what I sell to this is how I sell, it grew. Yeah. And it grew and it started growing. And a lot of people would message me and it just kind of grew organically. Had I put the same effort into YouTube, I would have be much bigger than I am now. So after a while with the Instagram, I got tired of typing. I got tired of typing the same things out in these long things. So I said, well, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. And so many people had said, you should start a YouTube. You should start a YouTube. And I said, okay. So I started a YouTube and, like we all do, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm interested in. And the video that you talked about, the cast iron video, that none of that is a fib. I really do enjoy buying and selling cast iron, vintage and antique cast iron. To me, it's a fascinating topic. Arguably, in any person's home, the kitchen is the center. Our home is no different. So I have really, really expensive, new, fancy schmancy, top-of-the-line space age pans, and I always end up going to the $15 80-year-old pan, and that's just me, and it's what I enjoy. So I just decided to make that topic one day, and I really enjoyed talking about it, and it's arguably my most successful video at this point. Nice. And it's been a trip from there. I've really enjoyed the social media aspect, the YouTube aspect. I mean, you can consider YouTube social media, and just reselling. The reason why I got into reselling, and it's a joke for the listeners of my my podcast, is that back in 1999, I was in high school and we worked in the Toys R Us, and it was like when Tickle Me Elmo was popular. We were like, well, if these things fall off the back of the truck, I can get more money for them. The statute of limitations has run out. It's So I got hooked in doing the hot Christmas items, and I've always kind of done that until I had my own kids about 5 years ago, and then I felt awful being on the receiving end, and I was like, well, I'm not doing kids toys anymore. Right. So I don't do kids toys anymore, but I resell pretty much everything else. Going to the Goodwill or Salvation Army or garage sales, and throwing them up on eBay.
Right. Now, also, you were saying that you have a podcast. Oh, is it something you put out regularly? For those that like podcasts?
I consider it's more of a verbal shorthand. My weekend live stream Saturday night 8:30. I consider it a podcast. It's visual because it's on YouTube, but you could listen to it without watching it. It's totally digestible that way. I've had thoughts really recently of doing a pre-recording and releasing it in that same time spot. But like you said, there's no substitute for hanging out with the chat. The chat is arguably the most fun part.
Yeah.
Am I interesting enough to carry this thing for an hour? I highly doubt it. I have my moments though. But you get that engagement with the chat, and it's really fantastic.
Well, I know there's several people that like doing podcasts. Is there a separate link that they can have to go to for your podcast, or is it part of your YouTube?
It's part of the YouTube. It's on in the playlist of lives. Like I said, they're mostly digestible as far as they are visual again, but you could just leave it on in the background and
okay.
And.
Well, the reason I say that is because I'm just starting to learn a little bit about podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't sit there and listen to it unless we're in the car with Robert. Mm-hmm. That's my husband. And he's faithfully listening to podcasts all day long.
Okay.
And so I'm starting to get into it, like, okay, what are they talking about? And so I get into it as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I had thought about taking them and editing them and putting them on like a Stitcher or a specific podcast platform. But if I had that kind of time, I would start making edited videos again. I just don't have the time. I sit down, I give you guys the hour, we talk a little bit, I got a couple minutes to answer comments, and then that's it. That's all I got. I got to get back to my regular job.
Okay, now for the regular scheduled program, on that note, you talked about the editing part. We'll go to Calvin. I remember seeing you most of the time, mostly on lives, I think with Pat.
Yep.
And other channels that you do at night. What is it? Some of the things that you started in doing your YouTube and your eBay?
Well, I mean, I started eBay before I even got serious in even making a video on YouTube. But YouTube was always something that I always wanted to make content. I just didn't know what type of content. And so finally, you know what? It just it got to the point to where I was like, I got to put content out because I'm always talking about it. Like, let me just give it a shot. And I was self-conscious because I feel like weird in front of like the camera recording myself. I always felt weird. And then finally, you just release that first video, and then it kind of just, you're like, it's not so bad, and then it kind of becomes fun. So you kind of just, you kind of just continue to put that content out. But yeah, no, I started eBay before the content, but I seen that there was actually, once I started getting into eBay heavy, obviously some of the first people I seen, John Cincinnati Picker, like, it's possible to make that type of content now. So it just kind of came naturally. I was like, well, if this is what I'm doing, I might as well just start getting some video of it and put it on. Then I started YouTube, and I got into Facebook groups at first, which I thought, I'm not as active as I used to be. Groups are crazy. And then you kind of figured out the same thing. Like, in this YouTube world, I had no idea that there was communities. Right. And these communities are crazy, bro. Yes. To me. So, but I mean, yeah, eBay came first. Naturally, I was doing eBay, so it was easier for me to get content doing eBay stuff. So I just say I'm gonna run with it.
Hey, for those that might not know, which I think I know the answer to what I'm going to ask you, because I did hear you say that in one of your videos that you did.
Yeah.
What was the true reason of you starting eBay, and who got you started? They told you can do it.
Man, I mean, really no one, because no one that was really.
Okay, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
What's this about you and your wife, and she told you to go ahead and start your eBay store?
Oh, so okay. So naturally, I'm a sales guy. Like, I've been in sales for the past 10 years, and I love sales, but it got to the point to where I was working at Verizon, and great company, very good money, especially if you like selling. But it got to the point to where my hours didn't match up where I wanted my hours to be. I couldn't create my own schedule. There's things that I miss, working on the weekends. I was like, at the end of the day, money's not everything.
Exactly.
So I quit that job briefly. I was at Coke in the warehouse. Mind you, I had never worked a warehouse job in my life.
Right.
But it was Monday through Friday. I took a huge pay cut, but I got my weekends off. And I did that for about 3 months, and I was like, I figured out fast, probably within a couple of weeks, warehouse work is no fun. Like, warehouse work, I couldn't do this. So I was doing eBay. I started pumping up eBay a little bit more while I was still working full time. And it came to a point to where, because my wife, she works for UPS and she was working part time as a clerk, but she had really great benefits. She was a teamster, whatever the case is. And it came, opportunity came to where she was going to be able to be a driver. And driving jobs at UPS don't come around too often.
Right.
And so we kind of sat and we talked about it. And, you know, at that point, I was never spending any of my eBay money. So my cash flow, I was able to build up my cash flow pretty decent. And so I felt comfortable with that. And then we also felt comfortable that what I was doing part-time, if I were to even jump in full-time, you know, I could do a lot better. So she was in a sense we were going to reverse roles. You know, she was going to be the breadwinner in a sense. And I was going to kind of just help make the ends meet with doing eBay full-time. And so because of, there's a lot of different ways you can go full-time eBay. If you're just a 19-year-old kid staying at home with your parents and don't have any bills, you can go full-time eBay.
Right.
If you have a family and bills and stuff like that, you got to have things lined up. For instance, my wife got a significant pay increase. I had a nice cash flow built up. And I was already knowledgeable enough to where, you know, I was confident enough that I could do eBay full-time. So it's you can't just go eBay, and I'm not making the most money in the world, but I have the weekends off. I kind of dictate how much income I can make. And again, I don't have the pressure of being the breadwinner or being a majority of our finances. And that it took my pride a little bit to get over to kind of come to that realization. But my wife was like, you've been unhappy for so long. Why don't we give this kind of situation a shot? Now she's happy.
That speaks
I'm
a
happy.
lot to one of the things that I espouse a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times new resellers will be focused on the money. They're focused on money. I bought this for 5 and sold it for 30, etc. It's more experienced resellers will start valuing things in time. How much time does it take me to get this in and out the door?
Exactly.
And that's how you know you've kind of made this at least the first couple steps into I'm a full-time reseller or I'm not a hobby seller. You go, okay, this is a quick thing. It might only be a couple dollars profit. I do a lot of OA to kind of fill in my gaps. And to me, OA is the greatest thing in the world. You a couple clicks online, the thing shows up at the door, you slap an increased price on it, goes out the door. It's the best thing in the world. And to a new reseller, they might go, well, you only made $30. I made $30 to do nothing. My time that I wasn't going out to the Goodwill. I think you said you have kids. I'm with my kids. I'm with my family. I'm doing other things. So that's really a good point. So I mean, there's a bunch of factors that go into being a full-timer, but ultimately you got to be willing. Again, I've had a headlight restoration business that I started at, a full-time or a auto detailing business that I started that was mobile. And this is all back in San Diego, and they failed ultimately. But I mean, you got to be willing to take risks at the end of the day if you want to go full-time. And full-time ain't for everybody. Sometimes part-time is just making it. It really just depends on what you want. If you got a good job and you enjoy your job, I just hated my jobs and I've been unhappy for a long time. So it was like, all right, what do you want to do? I got the opportunity now. I moved to Iowa from San Diego. Expenses are cut pretty much in half. This is one of the reasons why I move out here, so I can have that option to take a risk because it's not as risky.
Right.
Because I could easily go back out there and and go sell cars somewhere and make $60,000. That's no problem. I could do that all day long.
Right. All right. I want to welcome some more people in the chat. We have Redneck Resell. That's Colton. Welcome. Fat Man the Flipper, Alex in the house.
What's up?
Argart Man. That's Rhonda. Welcome. I think I said Frank. Welcome. I think I'm caught up with everyone so far that I missed in the chat. Oh, yeah, and Aaron Proctor, welcome. He's been in the chat a couple of times before. I've seen you before. I think I got everybody so far.
Hey, Johnny, I got a question for John real quick. So, John,
go ahead.
I think you were on Joey's show, and you said you were kind of in the middle of possibly changing your channel name?
I thought about it. So
Okay.
it's we are at a personal crossroads in our life.
Yeah.
I've had a dream to buy a house
Yep.
with the money that I got from eBay and call it
Mhm.
the house that junk built.
Okay.
Just like the old
Yep.
the old Groove Armada song. She says, "This is
Yep.
the house that Funk built," and I wanted to buy a house that said, "This is the house that Junk built." We lovingly
Yeah.
refer to Goodwills and Salvation as the junk store, another man's
Yep.
treasure. It all kind of works together.
Mhm.
So for the next, we're closing on a farm in like 3 weeks or so, and I would
Yep.
like to document this journey. And I
Yeah.
said, you know, is this going to be something where I'm going to have to start a new channel up and
Mhm.
start and call it Windy Acres Farm or whatever we decide to call it?
Yeah.
Or this is John, the DC Picker. I've been on
Mhm.
YouTube for a year. You've been following me on Instagram for 3 years or 4 years. Come
Yep.
along. This is the new adventure. And
Yeah.
I've debated back and forth, and I'm going to kind of let the I don't know, the viewing audience, whoever,
Mhm.
dictate that. Like if I
Yeah.
get a bunch of messages that says, "I followed you for reselling content only, unsubscribe," I'll go make another
Yeah.
channel. All things being equal,
Mhm.
with the purchase of a 100-year-old farmhouse and wanting to rehab it myself, there's not going to
Yeah.
be a lot of reselling content. It's
Right.
only going to be farm life with
Yeah.
some reselling thrown in. But at
Mhm.
least at the minimum for the next 6 months to a year, it's going to be farm stuff. And
Right.
I mean, it's people still talk about Green Acres. I've lived in a city my entire life. I'm not
Mhm.
quite 40, and I've
Yeah.
decided not only am I bypassed the suburbs, the American dream of the suburbs, and went right to
Yeah.
a farm. This is going to be
Yeah.
awesome. I'm going to
Yeah.
hurt myself. I don't know what I'm doing. This is going to be fantastic.
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll
man,
let
I
the
mean-
audience dictate whether I change the channel name or not.
Right. That's what's good thing about it. Once you bring it to your audience, and now you can get the feel of what they're gonna want. That's what's good about it too, because you're getting them involved with it.
Mhm.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that enough of my personality has come across in the videos. I'm not as milquetoast as other resellers. Sometimes I let curse words fly, and sometimes
Yeah.
I let what's maybe the unpopular opinion be said, or it's just my
Yeah.
opinion that I'm feeling at the moment that the camera is on, and then I
Yeah.
spend a week putting my foot in my mouth. Then we're gonna translate out from this backdrop, which has been my
Yeah.
backdrop from the beginning, and then just put it in another location. It's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah. All right. For anyone in the chat that doesn't know our guests, John and Calvin, go ahead and ask if you want to ask any questions. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Make sure you put Cajun Roots so I can see it because it'll highlight my name for me on the chat. Everyone can see that you have a question. I'll make sure we get to it. As far as for you, John, what is your set times for your videos that you do put out or your lives?
It's Saturday night, 8:30 Eastern. It's usually very regular. Very regular. I like to say that we don't have to go there. We'll keep it PG. The only gaps we have in, so we're in an apartment in the city here in Washington D.C. So with the coronavirus, my wife and I made the decision that we don't need to keep the kids cooped up in the house. The playgrounds are closed. Everything's cooped up. So they've been going back and forth to my mom and my wife's mom's house, where there's a yard, there's a pool, there's power wheels, there's all these things. So on the weekends we drive back and forth sometimes. So there's not always a show, but generally speaking, Saturday nights, I'm your man. I'll give you an hour of wacky reselling content.
Okay, don't forget every now and then go ahead and put your link of your video, your YouTube channel in the chat for everyone so they can subscribe to you.
Sure.
And if y'all haven't subscribed to him before, he's going to be putting the link down in the chat that way you can go and check out his channel. And Calvin, do you have any regular type shows that you do, or any type of regular lives that you do?
I do. I mean, with Kat, Nurse Flipper, so we do our show every Tuesday.
And is that always on her channel?
It's always on her channel. Yeah, I started going consistent with dropping videos, but again, I got to a point to where I just needed to take a little bit of a breather.
Right.
But I think a lot of it, to be quite honest, man, because if I was putting out videos, especially within the community, is like there are so many cool people in the community. At least what I was seeing online, I tried to support everyone, and that's a daunting task, man.
Yeah.
And you get sidetracked, and so I was like, damn, in order to kind of catch a break from that, I gotta actually take a break from doing my own content, because I don't want to make it feel like I'm just ignoring people's content now after I go weeks watching content. So I step back my damn self, and I just keep up a majority lately with just like lives, to be honest. Like I'll pop in on YouTube and watch a live. And other than that, like outside of like, I kind of just taking a step back of watching some reselling content. Like I'm doing
it's hard
reselling
when
my
you
damn self.
watch a
Yeah.
lot. It's like if you've ever heard comedians talk, if you listen to a certain amount of comedians and then you go to tell a joke, you start sounding like them. When you watch a lot of YouTube content and then you're like, oh, it's my turn to make a video, you're like, I'm just doing shed flips videos at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you lose your creativity just because you
That's
edit
it, man.
so much.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times people will say, oh, did you catch my video? And I'm, nope. I'll be honest with you. I could lie and tell you I did. And I'm like, nah, man, I couldn't do it. There's only so much reselling content you can digest. Now, at the same time, I'll try to support. I'll try to, subscribe and like and watch. We all go through YouTube streaks where I might watch YouTube for, reselling content for a week. I don't really watch regular TV. And then I might go into cars for a week or old houses for a week. So. It's hard. It's hard to support, but you're still there. You're still a subscriber. You hop in and chats and do your things, and you can't. I feel that you can't really be beholden to other resellers because a lot of times it's the same thing over and over. You bought this, you sold it. Cool. Cool. That's great.
Yeah. No, it kind of becomes like that for sure. Nothing against anyone, but. Damn, you just got to kind of get a break. That's why majority of what I watch on YouTube right now, like I love boxing. So I got boxing playing in the background on YouTube. That's what I watch, So like, man, but it's I don't know. Sometimes you just got to take a little break.
Yeah. And you got to unplug sometimes, and that helps you unwind. Because for me, like when I'm working in the morning, I'll have like someone's channel. Like, for example, if I'm watching or listening, because I like working and lurking a lot, I'll go ahead and just listen while I'm listening or taking pictures or whatever I'm doing. Because if I sit here and watch it, I'm not getting my work done.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if somebody asks me, "Did you see my video?" I'm sorry, I didn't. I'll go get it when I can.
It does help with motivation when you're eBaying. I will have it on when I'm doing eBay.
Yeah.
But as far as Calvin was saying it too, and I'm in the same boat. As far as creating content, it's very, very difficult to do it.
Hard.
It's hard. My reselling has taken the place of, or it's attempting to take the place of my wife's full-time income. I work full-time, and then I resell to backfill. She stays home with the kids. She's a stay-at-home mom. So, the numbers don't match up. But then again, at the same time, the reselling isn't the same. She traded in a 40-hour job for a 100-hour-a-week job. And reselling, I'm into reselling 2-3 hours a day, and I'm good with that. If I need to step it up, we have longer days than that. It's hard, but at the same time, like I started with, sometimes you do need that motivation. Sometimes you catch the right rally routes, or I like Craigslist Hunter, and you're like, oh, that's why I got into this. Oh, I could do that. Or for whatever it is, it might be competition, it might be admiration. You're like, oh yeah, I could do this. Oh yeah, I remember, I am good at this. And then you start really hitting it hard. So there is a use for them. There is a use.
Right.
For sure.
I want to also welcome some more that came in the chat. I got Westside Gary, Adventures in Reselling, Victoria, welcome. Man the Flipper, Alex, welcome to the chat. Let's see if Redneck Resale, that's Colton, welcome. Lisa C, I don't know if I tell you hello, but here, welcome.
We did have somebody, I think their name was Aaron. They said, am I in DC? Yes,
Aaron.
I'm in DC. He's in Clinton, Maryland. We're practically neighbors, my dude. Shout out to PG County. Shout out to PG County being over there, doing their thing, staying wild in PG County.
Hey, bro, I got it's crazy because one of my best friends, I met him when I was 20, and we were working at the Boys and Girls Club, and back in San Diego, he had just moved from Maryland. So I'm turning, I'll be 37 this year, and we met when we were 20. So we've known each other a long time. But he's from Gaithersburg, and he's actually, yep, he lives in LA right now. He's been there for 2 years again. And he's been back and forth a few times, but he's actually going back home.
Yeah.
His birthday's on the 5th, so he's going home to visit for like 10 days. So that's crazy. Yeah, man.
All right.
And I was out
that might not know, we have Tesla Picker in the house. What's up, Dave?
Shout out
Dave.
to Dave.
What it do?
I haven't seen you in a while. I know you've been crazy with your videos. And there was somebody else I saw that came in. Swamp Picker, welcome. LL Stash in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, Larry. So yeah, what platforms do y'all particularly sell on? Just eBay?
I'm 100% eBay, and I should expand. Right now, I know I'm leaving money on the table, but I know myself, and I'm just not ready to. I got to get into it quick though, like at least one other platform. But I know I'm going to need List Perfectly, so it's a bunch of different factors that's playing into that. But I'm like right on the fence of just hopping right in. But right now, it's just eBay.
Right. Oh, you have a question for you. What part of San Diego?
I grew up like originally when I was first from the time until I was like 8, like East San Diego. So it was close to like North Park, but it was kind of hood. I mean, it was torn down. It was beat down. It started getting hipsterish nowadays. But then I moved from there. I lived in Paradise Hills, North Park. And then before I left to Iowa, where my wife is from, is Imperial Beach. So I kind of been all over the place in San Diego.
All right. That's Westside Gary has. I swear that Calvin's washed my truck back in the day.
Hey, bro, possibly, man. I mean, I did. So I was doing detailing so I was at Frito-Lay from 2010 to 2016, quit and went right into detailing. So from 2016 till right up until I moved to Iowa, I was detailing. But I mean, it's possible. It is possible.
Swamp Picker said he sold his first board game on Poshmark. Congratulations.
Nice. I've tried all different platforms. The answer to your question is I'm predominantly like say 98% eBay and then 1% Amazon and 1% Facebook Marketplace. I have recently started buying things with the intent of selling them on Facebook Marketplace. We all know that it's better, but there's more of a there's better money, but it's more of a headache, etc.
Yeah.
I'm predominantly an eBay seller. For all the gripes that go along with selling on eBay, with some resellers and hobby sellers might have, I think the platform is tremendous. Every platform's going to have its own issues. Everything's going to have its own headaches, and I think eBay's are manageable. I think there are. It's a fantastic platform. It's easy.
Yep.
I think it's cheap. I don't care what anyone else says, but to get in front of 110 million people a month for 10%,
that's crazy, bro.
It's fantastic.
It's crazy.
The other day, I bought a bunch of things, whatever it was. I bought a bunch of things, and I was like, okay, let me stretch back out. Let me put them on Mercari. People say they're doing good on Mercari. I said, okay, great. I got enough of them. Let me experiment. So I posted them on eBay, and then I posted a handful of these things. I had a lot of them on Mercari. That thing was up for less than 5 hours before Mercari sent a push notification to my phone that said, you should lower your price by 5%. It'll sell better.
Damn.
And I was like, bro, that's it. I went and I just deleted all the stuff off there. I said, I can't do business like this. Because you leave it on eBay and it'll sell. And of course it did. It just took a little time. And a little time. It was only last weekend. I mean, it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
And it's just, I understand they're trying to get into it, but eBay's the old dog. It's been around. It's supported me so long. And I don't know. I kind of feel dirty when I go on. I'm like, oh, let's go. What are they offering? Like,
So when you do Amazon, do you do FBA or MBA?
FBM. I'll do FBM. So it's the same storage unit. It's some of the same stuff. I in the course of doing it, I started becoming ungated in more and more things. I'm not predominantly, you know, there's some big ones, video games. I don't really do them. Shoes, I don't really do them.
Yeah.
So occasionally. So I wasn't really affected by the big insurmountable ungated categories. But I you know, I became ungated. I liked it, and then I don't know. There was just a number of little things that go along with Amazon. It bothered me. It annoyed me. I like the dirt under the fingernails aspect of eBay. You know, you take a bunch of good pictures showing the damage. People know what they're getting. I started getting returns because people will use that Amazon A to Z return just because they change their mind.
Right.
And then they don't always send it back, but the refund goes out. Whereas I like the control that goes on with eBay. I'm sure there are better ways of doing it. I know the money's better on Amazon. It's just not for me, and it's okay. I've made it this far in life where I go, it's just not for me. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, now I'm not even thinking about the Amazon. I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about it. I hear a lot of good and bad about it. But for me, it's not in my my playbook to try to even expand to that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, some people take to it, and it also is. It's very dependent on what you're getting. If you know what you're sourcing. I think eBay works better for a hunt and peck picker like I am. For a hunt and peck, I never know when I'm going to come back with. eBay works better, and you know, Amazon might work for some people too.
Right.
I'm never going to knock another guy's hustle.
Correct.
Another guy or girl's hustle.
Right.
Yep.
At the same time, for me, for the time that I have allotted, for the amount of money that I'm comfortable with, for the product that I get, eBay just works better for me. I do have things on Amazon, and they sell sometimes, and sometimes they sit, and I'll be the cheapest one. I'll check the app, but I'm still the cheapest. Whereas we know on Amazon, on eBay, when you're the cheapest, that thing's gonna go.
Yeah.
That thing's gonna go. Where because I'm not Prime and I don't have Prime FBM anymore, they do or they don't. I can never get a straight answer. I just said I'm just gonna stick with eBay, and my shipping times are sometimes faster than Amazon. I like providing the customer service on eBay, and I like it. I just like it. I'm comfortable.
I like that
with
too
it.
because I just got a feedback on how fast my shipping is compared to Amazon.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you know, that made me feel good, you know?
I have a set shipping time. I treat my eBay like a business. My eBay is a business.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have set shipping times. If you get your order in by 2:30 Eastern PM, it's going out the same day. So the other day I was at the storage unit. I pulled that day's order, and I had made it back to the car, and dude ordered at 2:30. So I went back, I pulled it, I hit the shipping label. This dude must have been like, there's no way this guy shipped it this fast. But it just happened to line up at that right time.
Right.
Yeah.
That dude got that thing before he even realized he bought
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That dude showed up. It was in the post office 10 minutes after he bought it.
And that's how I am too. If I have an order that comes in, if it's before lunch, for example, and if I'm already planning my day to go bring it, because I only live 2 minutes away from the post office, and I usually make it a day of routine. If my order comes in before 10:30, it's going out the door before 10:30 because at that time I'm not leaving until 11 o'clock.
Yep.
But after lunch, if it comes in before 2:30, it's going out that day.
Oh yeah.
That's just the way I am. And if it comes in after that, I still have a 1 day handling time where I can still go out the next morning. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I've always had 1 day handling time. I know full well that I could do same day shipping, have same day handling time, but I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I have a job where a lot of overtime happens. So I don't want to do it. I can do it, but I don't want to do it. So I keep it on the 1 day, and I very rarely have to wait to the next day. I mean, if it comes, like I said, if it comes in after 2:30, after 3 o'clock, it's going to the next day. But
because for me, I make it to where my packages are like I send them out like I want them to come to me. So I know it takes me a little bit extra to do that extra wrapping or whatever I need to do to protect it. But I'd rather go out as fast. And so I know if I do a 1 day handling and something happens that day, or I got something planned that day, I don't have to rush it out the door that day. Where I know it's going out the next day. So it makes it look good on you too.
My post office, I know the rhythm of my post office. If I don't get it in by 4 o'clock, it's just gonna sit in their bin
the next
anyway.
day.
So I can't. After, like I said, after 2:30, 3 o'clock, I don't kill myself because it's just gonna sit over there. Might as well sit safe and sound in my warehouse. I'll just go pick it up and do it the next day.
Yeah, because my post office, they have the major pickup at 1 o'clock, for anything that came in before lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and 5 o'clock because they close at 4:30. So by 5 o'clock, everything's out the post office. So I have those 2 times that I can get it, but I'm not gonna kill myself to get there.
Yeah, usually, yeah. I don't put it in my description, but depending on the time, because usually the first thing I do in regards to eBay every day is I will get the orders packed from the previous day, because that's the money I already have, and I just want to make sure that money is good money. So I get that stuff packed up, and so that's ready to go.
Yep.
So so sometimes if there's another item that kind of came in while I'm doing it, I'll pack it up, but I'm not pressed for that. The one thing I was doing for a while, but I did stop, is if you ordered by 12:30 Central Time on Friday, I would actually ship it out on the Saturday. So usually I don't like going and taking stuff to the post office on Saturdays, but I did put that in my description and stuff. So, but I stopped because I was like, you know what? I don't want to do shipping on Saturdays. They're just gonna have to wait till Monday and get it out, which is fine because you're allotted that time on eBay.
Yep.
If you have a 1-day shipping time or handling time and they order on Friday afternoon.
Right.
Yeah, you're still good.
Yeah.
Right.
But kind of like what John said, what John said about customer service, like I'm from the sales world, man. So customer service in the sales world is like everything.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to make some nice commissions. So I'm huge into customer service. Like it gets to the point to where sometimes I think about it, but there's a lot of refunds or returns that I get, and I just say, you know what? We apologize for whatever the issue was. Go ahead and keep that item. I'll issue you a refund promptly, because not only do I have the cash flow to do that, but $20 when I only bought that thing for $1, it's like, okay, I'm not going to deal with the hassle of a $15 refund and possibly getting a negative feedback.
Right.
Keep the item. Don't worry about the shipping. I apologize. And
That's my dirty little secret.
Yeah,
my dirty little secret is the same way. If it's sub $20, you're keeping it. We're not bothering. And I've gotten feedback off of it. I've gotten positive feedback off of people requesting returns. Yeah, I'm like, just keep it. Who cares?
It's just a matter of going that extra mile.
Yeah. It really doesn't matter what it is, because like you said, I'm probably into that thing, $3-5, whatever.
Yeah,
you just keep it.
Now, I mean, obviously, I'm not getting returns every day, so if it was something that became consistent, I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
Ultimately, that wouldn't happen, because that would just mean I'm doing something wrong in the business. Maybe I should reconsider doing it. But you know, if I get a return, and usually when you get one return, you'll get like 2-3 in a row.
It's always the way.
It works like that. But usually they're probably spread out, maybe by a month, 2 months, to where I'm seeing another return. And so I'm just like, okay, well, $20, just go ahead. I'm not going to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
I also want to welcome some others into the chat. We have Callie Resell Lewis. Thank you for coming. Nikki T, welcome. Uncle B in the house, old school flipper. Yeah. Jimmy, how you doing? Agent Reseller, welcome. Let's see, Steve O's SC Thrifted, Steve O, Copper State Treasures, welcome. Trying to make sure I don't miss anyone, because I know how that could be sometimes when the chat goes real fast. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat for me. Did you see the comment that Alex gave you about your channel? He says, anyone wants to win an all-expense paid trip to Amazon warehouse for a dream, subscribe to and hit their channel.
I'm going to hold him to that.
Yeah, it is it.
Hold him to it, y'all.
Yeah, I'm going to hold him to it.
Really.
I did see another comment that he made that he was talking about naps. I need him to try to sell Mrs. DC Picker on naps, because I'm a big nap guy.
Yeah.
Make naps great again, I think someone said. I'm all about it. I'm a big napper.
Yeah, I know. I saw it and I'm trying to get to it. Let's see. Think yes and okay.
So,
if anyone has any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Make sure you put the Cajun Roots so I can see it, please.
Before we came on, you were talking about having the entrepreneurial spirit flowing through you. Is there anything else that you are thinking about trying? I know we talked about Reyes. He did the vending machine. He's done a little bit of everything. Yeah. Have you given any thought to stretching out to something else?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so
not what you've done, but what you're thinking about.
No,
Yeah.
It actually has to do around content creating. So it's going to be more locally based. But so in my area of Iowa, there's literally no sports talk radio at all. Like you cannot hear any sports talk. They'll do high school sports games occasionally, but there's no sports talk afternoon drive time sports radio at all. So kind of what I want to do on a more of a local scale is I still want to create the content for YouTube, stream it live to like Facebook, stuff like that. But then I also want to take the audio and do a podcast as well. But I want to just really promote it locally. And so the idea around that is, interviewing local high school athletes. North Iowa Community College is right down the street from me. I want to interview athletes from there. And there's no professional teams here, so people really love their college sports. I want to get
what would be the professional teams in Iowa? Is it like the Colorado teams or the Washington teams?
Minnesota teams. Yep. So for baseball, we got a lot of Twin fans out here.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's Cubs fans for sure, but anything kind of like bordering Iowa. But again,
I was thinking Idaho.
No.
Iowa. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Iowa borders like Wisconsin and Minnesota, Illinois.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, makes more sense. Your answer makes way more sense than my suggestion. All right, cool.
All right, we have a question from Aaron Proctor. Do y'all do buy it now or auctions on eBay?
Very, very common question. It's very tempting to, if you're first starting, to go, oh, it's auction, and people are going to get into a heated battle, and I'm going to make a ton of money. I've seen it on TV. It's very, very common to have that thought creep in. The reality is this not the eBay of 1999. Yeah. It's not the eBay of 2005. So unless you have a specific, say, collector's item or a rare item, it's almost never worth putting on auction. Put your price on it, what you need to get out of that item. If you like the game of chance a little bit, perhaps price it a little bit higher and then put best offer on it, and any number that you get in between there's a little bit of bonus money. But as far as auctions go, if it's not a rare item, you're gonna not get as much out of it, in my experience, is my opinion, than it is putting it on buy it now. They know the price. It's right there. It's better for you. You're getting paid quicker. They're getting the item soon. A lot of people, we live in an Amazon world. Again, we talked about this earlier, that not everything is money. We live in an Amazon world. I don't want to wait a week for your stupid auction to be over. I'll give you the extra $10. Just let me buy it now. And it's that kind of mindset goes along a lot on eBay. So in my opinion, it's pretty much buy it now, unless it's really a rare thing.
Yeah, I had watched enough content and put in enough, hours of research to know that auctions weren't the way to really run your business. It's a one-off thing, kind of like John saying. I just recently bought like 32 Topps Batman candies, and it came in a box, in a Topps box from like 1989, and there's not really any other comps on it. I was like, this is actually a cool item. I'm just throw it up there for an auction, start the at least minimum $5, and just see where it goes, because I was into it for $1, and it was that. But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to run a reselling business, cash flow is everything. Imagine if you had all your 300 items on an auction and they were 5 days, even if they were 5 days.
I accidentally somehow did not see that it was on auction. So then I missed
to get that item that John has. Right, I don't want you thinking about it for a week. I think a buy it now really is the best way to go. If you're in if your item is in a crowded market, putting it a little bit higher with best offer might get you the sale. But if you're the only one or one of two and your condition is better, put it on buy it now with a higher number, and you'll get your money.
I did that on a lot of porcelain dolls at the beginning, and they all sold for the price I was asking. Yeah. Very few, and after a while they went selling. I put on best offer, and then it sold.
Yeah. See, I know me personally.
She was saying, I do not turn on the auctions unless it's a special, something special, or I can't find a comp for it.
Yep. Yeah, it's a one-off, situation. I know me personally, like, I, even though I sell online, like I'm kind of like, if I get something, I don't like buying myself a lot of stuff anyway, so it's not like I'm shopping for myself often. But if
Right.
I buy myself something, I like getting it right there. So a lot of times, if I can get it at the store, I'm going right to the store and I'm getting it. Unless I have to get it online, because yeah, it's about that. You want something, you want it now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
That's true. A
I
lot of people
agree.
have that mindset.
I
yeah,
agree. I don't. Someone made a comment. Let me see. I'm gonna make a proper attribution. R. Gerkman says I don't do make an offer or best offer either. Haha. To me, I love that. I love
yep,
it. It's again, I like to do it what's called bonus money, where I'll set my number a little bit high, not ridiculous, but it
Right.
might be at the higher end of the scale with best offer. I'll be happy with that low number, but if I catch an offer somewhere in between there, I'm getting, a little bit of bonus money. And
yep,
again, as the buyer, they think they're getting a deal. Oh, this guy took
yep.
my offer, and that
Oh
you
yeah.
might get better feedback or perhaps a repeat customer.
Hmm.
I get a lot of things from my guide, things that aren't picked. I'll get repeats of them. I'll get the same
Yep.
thing over and over, and I do get a
Hmm.
lot of repeat customers, and I know I know them. I'm not so big that I don't remember their names, or at least their
Yep.
screen names. I go, oh, I
Right.
kind of remember that one, and they're always doing it, make an offer. Like, okay,
Yep.
I'll take 65 because that's what you did last time,
Hmm.
and they
Yep.
think they're getting a deal, but I would have taken 60.
Yeah.
It's totally
Exactly.
fine.
Right.
And it's worked out well for me. So
Yeah.
I'm if I'm giving advice to everyone or
Hmm.
anyone, it would be set your bar a little bit higher.
Yep.
Buy it now with make an offer.
Never made a
Absolutely.
point, and I always tell him to do this. He doesn't do it. And he never forgets about it. He says, "I've never tried making the best offer. I should be trying that sometimes because knowing sellers do take their offers."
Heck
Oh
yeah.
yeah, oh
And I
yeah,
can tell him
Absolutely.
a lot of times, just make an offer. It don't hurt to ask.
Hmm.
yeah.
You never know how long they've had it on their site for.
Oh, I
Yep.
have people doing it all the time to me. They'll message on
Hmm.
items that I don't have buy it now and say, "Would you take so and so?" Bro, I've been looking at things for 2 years. I'd have taken 40, and you offered me 60. I'm ready. I'll do it. So,
Yeah.
absolutely, I think a
Heck
little bit of
yeah.
communication as a buyer and a seller. The opposite goes if we have a reselling audience here. The
Hmm.
opposite is true too. You might have I do set thresholds on the buy it now so
Hmm.
that the phone
Yep.
excuse me the offer so that your phone isn't going off all the time, but
Yep.
I'll go through that maybe every 2 days, and I'll
Hmm.
look and I'll say, no matter really what it is, if they're close, I'll message them back and say, you know what, I'll do 80 on it. I'm
Yep.
sorry, and I'll blame eBay. I'm like, I don't know
Hmm.
why the system didn't take that. I totally would take, and they usually buy it. You got to be a
Yeah.
little
Yep.
bit proactive, and you're
Yeah.
you're going back and forth. You're jigging the lure up and down a little
Hmm.
bit to try to
Yeah.
hook them, and you'll get them. You got to be a
Right.
little
For
bit
sure.
proactive.
Now,
For
what is your
sure. Yeah.
point on or your position on the free shipping versus paid shipping?
I'm always free shipping. I'm
Or
always free
how do you
shipping.
make up for that?
You don't make your money when you sell things. You make your money when you buy things.
Hmm.
Right.
So if it's the difference, I mean, honestly, I should say I don't have a problem shipping big things.
Yeah.
I've never been afraid of that. I'm buddies with the FedEx people. They know
Hmm.
me. Once you get more experienced, um, I think people will dip their toes in a little further and getting into bigger things or heavier things. Once you learn the flat rate boxes and things like that, or FedEx rates, I think
Hmm.
that gets into your mind, so that when you're at a garage sale and you're like,
Yep.
oh, I know that these old the Christmas lights that everybody goes crazy
Hmm.
over,
Oh yeah.
the big
Steinbrenner.
the ones from like the 80s where people
Yeah.
can't get them.
Steinbrenner,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They go, oh my god, they go for big money, and then they get home, and they go, this thing's going to cost me $40 to ship it.
Hmm.
You know that with a little bit of experience, that
Right.
you
Yeah.
go, oh, I can't pay $20 for this. I'll give you
Hmm.
$5 for it, and that's it. You make your money when you buy, not when you sell.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I write it. I think about that in the beginning when I'm at the Goodwill or when I'm sourcing, and I know that okay, one of the most important things a new reseller can learn is the difference between a pound
Yep.
and 16 and 17 ounces.
Yes.
That's the most important thing that you could learn. And once you
Mhm.
learn it by hand, you go, okay, well, now I know what I'm playing with.
Yep.
And that's how you make an informed decision and will sell it. The only thing that I don't do free shipping on is stuff that goes out media mail. I think that just for whatever reason, it's $3 and people are like, whatever, media mail stuff. For whatever reason, I don't do that. But going back to it's an Amazon world and we're just playing with it. People don't realize it's not free. They just see those words and they go, I got Prime. It's free on Prime. We know that they're paying for it.
Right.
It's just a different way of framing it to get them to do it. And I think personally, if you got if you're just getting started and you're learning about shipping and you're learning the intricacies and you're not hooked into pirate ship or anything like that yet, it's okay to do calculated shipping. But once you get a little bit of dirt under your fingernails, switch it over, increase your prices, switch it over to free shipping, and more people. There's a box on there. There's a box on there that says free shipping. People are going to naturally click that because we live in an Amazon world. So I really don't. I personally, I don't have really anything except for a handful of items on media mail where it's not free shipping.
Well, the reason I brought it up because Rhonda made a point of it. She says I post everything at below its possible price, so I can't go any lower. But shipping is too much for her to absorb the cost.
Okay.
For me, when I first started a year ago, it was always I'm going to charge free. I'm going to charge for shipping because I don't know what I'm doing. Then I got into the point where I started doing anything under a pound, free shipping. Anything over a pound, I would charge. Now where I'm at is I will do free shipping on everything except overseas or international.
Sure.
And now I find that my sales have consistently been the same every day, even though I'm not doing the plus shipping. I'm doing with shipping. And when it comes to free shipping, I'm still having the same amount of sales. So
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous of Calvin living in the middle of the country because I know that every sale I get, it goes to the other coast. And I'm constantly taking a bath on it. I actually did want to start doing a shipping table where it's like free up into the Rockies, and then west of the Rockies, it's no longer free shipping. And then I don't have the time for it. It's not worth the extra $2. I'm like, whatever, just send it out. So that's to get back to, was it Rhonda's question? Again, you have to think about this stuff before you buy it. And even if you find that your things are too expensive to ship, there's always the ace in the hole. Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. Don't ship it. Flip it locally. You can put it on eBay local only, or you can use some of the local platforms, Let Go, and depending on your neighborhood, if you have a Nextdoor or whatever, you don't always have to. Don't ever lose money on something that you bought to sell. You can cut into your profit a little bit. That's your profit. It's okay. That's the kind of, doing business, and you learn a $2 lesson here, or you learn an $8 lesson there. But eating $50 to $100 worth of shipping, then you might have to not just solely be an eBay seller, or reach out and try to find out from FedEx or UPS or even the Postal Service, what's the cheapest way? What's the best way that we can do this? You don't ever want to lose money on things. It happens. It happens to all of us. You don't want to make a habit out of that. You generally make these expensive or either these costly things. You make a donation to the reselling gods. That's your education. You really don't do it again.
Been there, done that, and threw away a t-shirt. I had a big cost on something that I thought I knew what I was doing, and I went to list it, not realizing I did a same sell similar, doing free shipping, and I didn't see it, and I didn't do it when I was first starting out. So now I'm very cautious of when I'm doing sell similar from something else. What I'm doing is checking to see what's going on, You
really have to go through. It happens to me I shouldn't say all the time, but it happens. And the sellers aren't stupid. I mean, we like to think that they're stupid, but they're not stupid. They pick right up on it. And sometimes they're so glaring. I had one, it was a pair of boots, and I found them. It was the right name. It was the North Face. And there's a picture of them, and they have white fur, and they were up there for 6 months because in the title it said black fur, because all I did was hit sell similar and do the description and change the sizes. And she's like, is it white fur or black fur? You see the picture. You see exactly what it is. Thank you for pointing
Did you
out.
read the description? No, I didn't.
Yeah, here's a $5 coupon, and she still didn't buy it anyway.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing though. You learn a lot, but it's what you learn from it to
Yes.
correct it from yourself, not to do it again, and
Oh,
be
yeah.
more mindful when you're listing things that you're copying from somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So,
And I want to take a step back. I don't mean that. I'm sorry to cut you off, Calvin.
No, go ahead.
I want for any newer resellers or folks that are doing this, don't always price off of eBay. I see somebody else jogged a thought in my mind. They said, I sort by lowest price, highest to lowest, including shipping when I buy. Lisa C wrote that, which is good. But most people, and this does happen more often than not, Amazon is usually the cheapest, but sometimes vice versa, different platforms are different money. So most people will go on, they're going to hit Amazon and say, can I get it on eBay cheaper? Sometimes that works out in our favor, but other times, what I'm getting at is what I like to do is put the thing like $1 less than it is on Amazon, and you're almost guaranteed to make the sale that way. Don't always price off. Definitely don't go off the suggested prices that eBay tells you. But when you're searching your comps, and there's like a wide scale, people are funny about it. If it's way too expensive, they're almost definitely not going to buy it. But if it's too cheap, they might not buy it either. Don't forget that eBay had a reputation of being knockoff central. They've cleaned it up in the last few years, but a lot of the buying public still kind of thinks that, oh, maybe it's the knockoff. I don't want to buy a knockoff. So you have to be smart with your pricing. So if something is $65 on Amazon, you put it at 64, there's like an intrinsic comfort there. Yes, you're going to get it cheaper on on eBay, but there's like the comfort in that pricing level there too. So keep that in mind when you're pricing. Don't always price off of just one platform.
The best thing about it too is not to look at what's on auction. Always look at what's sold.
Oh yeah.
Because that's another misconception. If you're looking at what's sold compared to what was on auction, then that's going to throw it off because of the fact that somebody might have bought it for a higher amount because they
got into a bidding war, right?
No matter what their price would be. But make sure that anyone that's starting out don't follow those that are on auction, because then you're going to cut yourself short. For me, I'll lift it up as high as I can if I'm looking at something that's sold within the last month, and how many were sold. I'm going to keep it at that higher price because I'm going to hold on to it. Yeah, it might bottom up and everybody else will sell, but when it comes on to that last piece that's left, they're going to pay that price because they want it that bad.
See, and this goes to I believe it's my working theory that even in the small YouTube and Instagram and social media reselling community, there are little clues, little indicators to what the person is doing. I'm a picker, you're a reseller, and he's a hustler. And we all have different mindsets, whether we realize it or not. I always like to say, I'm in the flipping business, I'm not in the storage business. Where you go, I'm cool, I'll wait till I get my number. And people need to figure out, what they want to do with it. Some folks, if you're a reseller and you have a garage and you're cool and you're buying and there's no real impetus to make these huge sales, you're cool. Get your number. You'll get it eventually. That's totally fine. And somebody might go, I spent $10 on this. I need to get my $80 out of this as fast as possible. It's going to be $70 next week just to try to get the sale. And it really depends on the person and their business and how they're doing it. But it's kind of funny how it comes out in our names. Like, I'm very picky about what I buy. You're a reseller. And Calvin just gets done saying, I got kids and wife. We need money. I'm a hustler. And it comes out in our names. It's very funny.
Definitely. No, you gotta, my store has a mixture of both. So obviously, way more so than when I first started. I don't care so much how many items I have listed. I care about sell-through rate. Okay, you do want to even balance, and ultimately you do want, the more items you have listed, the more opportunity for money you're going to have to make. But again, I have a mixture of both. So I know I have some items that are going to be a little long tail. I know I have items that are going to sell right away within a week or two. Then I got some in between items, but it just really depends. I mean, sell through rate is everything. for me, and that's kind of what I focus on now.
Sure.
Everyone
is going to be different, and I really don't think that there's a bad way of doing it if it works for you.
Yes,
I do the same thing. I have $5 items. I have $25 items. I have $500 items. I have a good mix, so we keep that thing going. We know that views are very important to eBay. Activity is very important to eBay. Now, I don't know about you guys. I can't fill my store full of $500 items. Right. I'm not pulling those out. Yeah, but I still need to have activity. But I wouldn't go and tell somebody, go buy things at the dollar store and then try to flip them on eBay, and that's how you're going to make a living. But it's going to a rising tide raises all ships. You need that stuff in there to get the activity going. So that's, that's a good point. But if it works for you, if you're a hobby or you want to stretch from a hobby to being a small timer or a full timer, it's whatever works for you is the best way of doing it. Now, you could take pieces of advice from YouTube and social media and kind of cater it to the way that you want to do it. Yeah. But whatever works for you, as long as it's working. I don't like seeing the message that says I'm eating so much. That's we don't want that to happen. Well, she said I'm eating $50 to $100 per item every time she ships a garage. Guitar case. That's bad. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that.
You need to be charging your shipping. Don't for sure. Free shipping.
Right.
I mean,
you need to tweak it as you're going along. You're gonna have to tweak what you're doing.
I was just gonna say that.
What works best for you. Like for me, I am starting to do free shipping because even if I'm sitting there watching TV and an offer comes in, I look at Robert and say, hell, I only paid $1 for that. And they want to give me how much? Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's why I don't put the offers and let them give me offers, because I'll send offers to someone and let them send me an offer back.
And when you do? I never do that. I don't. Listen. You're getting my one offer. That's it. This is not a game show. We're not going back and forth.
I only do it at one time. You know what I'm saying? Because I know my bottom number is going to be that I can allow myself that I want to get for that item. I'll let him come back once, but if I deny it, and there's no more.
Yeah.
So that's one thing you need to figure out and tweak what is best for you. And if you're losing $50 to $100 per item, there's something wrong. It's not working out for you.
Right. She clarifies that we're talking guitars, and if it's something that I don't know if it's, I'm not an expert in guitars, but if it's something that you might be worth, let's just use round numbers because it's easier. If it's a $300 item and everybody's selling it for $300, but it costs $100 to ship it, are you saying you're losing out because you're getting $200 and then it's costing $100 to ship it? Well, that everyone's getting that same number. What I want you to never ever do is to sell it for $200 and then lose the $100 on shipping. You want to be so your other option there is to charge for shipping at the $200 price point to get in line with everybody else. I don't. You shouldn't think about shipping money as being yours. It's not. It's whatever services it is. Don't ever think about tax money and shipping money as being yours. So you might see that incoming hit to your PayPal of $300 and immediately $100 going out, and you go, I lost money. You didn't lose money because it wasn't yours. But if it's somewhere, like I said earlier, where you're selling it for $200 and it costs $100 to ship it, then that's where you need to do a readjustment, either take off free shipping or charge. If these are desirable items, people are going to pay $50, $100 to ship. They know they're into it. They want it. They're going to pay that. So don't be concerned in your pricing strategy necessarily when it comes to these more desirable items. That doesn't mean if you're selling a Rolex, you're going to charge shipping on it, because at that point it's all kind of built in. You think about it. But if it's a desirable item and it's heavy, they know what they're buying. If they're buying a bowling ball, they know it's heavy. They're not going to be surprised by a shipping charge.
Right.
So think about it like that.
And always make sure you tweak whatever happens to work for you in your business, in your eBay store, because they work for somebody else but not for you. So never go into videos and watching somebody and saying, oh, why am I not doing that for me? Because they're in a different type of country, they're in a different type of length of time in their business, where you may be just starting out. And that's another thing. When I started watching YouTube, I was watching to learn what they're doing, but I'm also learning what not to do.
Oh, yeah.
You got to look at the pros and cons and figure out what is best for you.
Oh, yeah.
Like Aaron says right here, he's his biggest problem is that he's impatient.
I just wanted to address this, and
go ahead.
So
impatient.
I'm happy.
And what, just overall though, or what aspect?
When he wrote that comment, we were talking about kind of what you would consider sell-through rate. Not everybody knows the official terms, but sell-through rate.
They don't want to rush and get out the door.
Right. So one of the things that I'll advise a new reseller, an eBayer, be happy with 1 or 2% of your stuff. Be happy with that. So that means if you have 100 items listed, one a day, you're ahead of the game. You're doing all right. So if your problem is impatience, put more stuff in your store and you'll get more sales. Anything greater than 1 or 2%, you're really having a good day or you're having a good week. So, but on a consistent business level, I've been doing it for years. 1 or 2% a day is where where you should be. So if you're, he says he thinks your ratings matter too. Of course, feedback matters. Of course, customer service factors into it. But don't be too impatient. You can will some sales. You could use the Star Wars Force to get some sales too. That's not uncommon. But the reality is, when it comes down to brass tacks, it's really only 1 or 2% of your items are going to go out a day. If you only have 50 items in your store, you might get a sale every 2 days, every 3 days. That's about it. That's about it. eBay definitely rewards folks who have a lot of views in their stores or on their account. So keep that in mind. The more lines in the ocean, the more fish you catch. So post more, list more. Go ahead.
It also comes down to just finding more quality product, man. I mean,
sure.
From when I first started until now, I mean, my sell-through rate, it's for a moment there was at 100%. So it's a little bit lacking right now of 100%, but I'm right there at 100% sell-through rate. So, but that just comes from picking better items.
And how would that translate out daily? Let's not conflate the two sell-through rates. That means you're selling every one of your items.
Absolutely, yeah.
But as far in your experience, what would your say daily be?
I'm probably right around 4 or 5 items a day.
Okay.
And I have 382 listed and 378.
So you're right there. If we can use round numbers, 400 into 4 items is 1%. You're right there. So that's what I'm saying. So if you want to have more things, if your problem is impatience, you have to list more to get more out of your account. Oh, very good.
And that's another thing. You have to list you have to list at least something, whether it's 1 to 5 every day to get that trigger on your account. And if you're buying better items, remember, buy low, that way you can sell more. But when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're buying and selling enough that you're going to be able to keep turning it over in your store, because those little sales will add up to you getting more sales down the road.
Yes. Question comes in from
here, what area of Calvin and DC are your average ROIs? What is base? Okay, both of y'all. They want to know what's your average ROI.
You know what? I'm not really good with numbers, and I haven't really broke it down. But I usually just mentally, I try to stick to like 70%. I mean, I really never spend. I try to. For some reason, I have a idea in my mind that if something costs more than $5, especially at a garage sale, I stay away from it. But a lot of the stuff, more so, it's if I get this item, can I sell it for at least $20 to $25 minimum is where I like to be. So, on
that $5 item. So
minimum. And even that's high for me. Like usually if I know I'm only going to get 20 to 25, I don't like to pay more than $1 or $2. But sometimes, depending on the sell-through rate of that item, I'll dish $5 to get 25 because I know it's going to sell fast. So 60, 70%.
It does depend. We're not I don't know, a typical Walmart. There's not a typical markup that we do. Some people do. If you have a recurring product or something like what I talked about earlier, if you're doing OA where you have a consistent influx, you can have your typical markup. But as far as we go, it's very rare for someone to have a consistent markup that makes sense. It really depends on the item. Now, that being said, there's also 2 ways of calculating ROI. It depends on which one you're specifically talking about. I don't get out of bed for anything less than 1,000% or 100%, depending on which one you're talking about. Very rarely will I get into an item because I'm a picker. I'm doing this to supplement an income. It's not full time. I don't need the huge number. To me, 385 items is huge. My items are worth it. I gotta be at 1,000%, and usually I could do that because I pick, and I don't need big gigantic margins to survive. So it really is everyone. I hate the answer when someone asks a question. It depends, and it does depend. You can have a specific number in your head that you want for this item. That's why searching comps in this business is far more important than a rule of thumb markup. Yeah, it's far more important. Like we were just got done shipping. You take that item, that sold item that you see on eBay, you take that item in its totality. Okay, that's sold for $40. Take $10 off to ship it. Take the 15% off for fees, or 13% off for fees. Take another 20% off for your taxes. Can I get into this item and still make a profit? Absolutely. And that's a good rule of thumb to keep you going. Yeah. One of the worst things that I don't mean to cut you off, but I'll lose my train of thought. One of the worst things that I hear people saying in my experience is that they stop their sentence after shipping and fees. Yeah. And then April 15th comes and their year is ruined. We, as resellers, you're a business, you're making money, you need to make your quarterly tax payments so that when April 15th comes, it's not sticker shock. You go, I've been paying into my quarterly taxes, and those taxes, they don't get it confused necessarily with sales tax. This is tax that you're getting on your profits. There's a certain percentage of that too. A lot of people get that confused and they go, well, eBay collects my sales tax. Yeah, well, go tell the tax man you just pulled in 10 grand off eBay and see what I can tell them eBay collected that. So don't do your math calculations with the shipping, your PayPal fee, and the taxes on that item, especially if it's any dollar is taxable, but if it's a big ticket item, if you're doing a $5 into $100 flip, make sure that these things make sense depending on your tax bracket. I'm not giving tax advice. I'm telling you to pay your taxes, but you'll be surprised. A $5 into a $25 item, you didn't make no money. You didn't make any money. So that's where your ROI is to get back to answer the question. You really need to be up in the $40 area on a $5 item to make a profit that's worth it. Then again, remember that you're paying yourself. Is it worth it for me to get off the couch to make $3? No, I'd rather watch the end of the show, So you have to take that all into totality when you're looking at an item. Again, the comps are that much more important to us than anybody else. Anybody who's out there buys an item, they do their markup, and then they move along and they sell 1,000 of them a day. Your supermarket sells 1,000 of this thing a day. We don't. We run differently from that. So keep that in mind. That ROI isn't as important as it is to comping out your item and doing your comparison to how much you can buy into that item for.
For sure, and it definitely, I mean, it definitely depends on where you're sourcing to. Because I think I don't want to say a lot. So initially, when I first got in to reselling, I started out just selling stuff around the house. Then I moved on to thrift stores. Once I discovered garage sales, I absolutely love garage sales because the amount of bang for buck you're getting at a garage sale compared to a thrift store or anywhere else, it's not even close. So, that's a huge thing too. And a lot of the times when you're at a garage sale, you have to have efficiency, because as a reseller, when I'm at a garage sale, I always feel like there's another reseller that's going to get something that I know that's going to have money. So you learn to be efficient. You don't try to look up as much stuff, but you gain a better eye for products that are going to be quality.
Absolutely.
Grab it. Then you can look it up just to really see if this guy wants this much for it. Well, let me double check.
Also, at the same time, the longer you do it, the more you're out there, you go, I've sold this before. You get that experience that I date myself, but I call it a mental Rolodex. You're like, okay, well, I remember this company. I've sold this company before. I could take a shot at $3 and probably do okay with it. And then it makes you more efficient and you start rolling through it. I started This is just me. I never knock anybody else. I started a I hate garage sales. My videos are gonna start being how much I hate garage sales. So just for me in this geographic location and with the coronavirus, yard sales have been terrible. They're a complete waste of time. So I started doing the math where I was like, okay, well, I'm in the car for 6 hours. I value my time at $50 an hour just because you got to give yourself some self-worth. I drove this many miles. I saw this much junk. I've lost money coming out here. For me, garage sales don't work because they're too geographically spread out. If you're able to get a neighborhood one where it's bang 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 bang, totally cool. I'm totally cool with that. I'm not advocating anyone to write off garage sales, but I am this year. I'm writing off garage sales. I said no, I can't do it. There's too much time and not enough profit there.
Yeah, there's garage sales for me are like my number one way of sourcing.
Nice.
I can't.
But again, it goes to I'm picking. I'm not looking for every little thing that I can make a profit on. I'm looking for the different things, the special things. And in my geographic area, estate sales are all bets are off. I'm gonna drive all around because that suits me. I make a lot of money. Your garage sale is my estate sale. I like finding that wacky old stuff. I'm cool with that. But garage sale stuff, it's never really been worth it for me.
And for me, I started when I first started with the eBay. I basically do like you were saying, Calvin. Start with what you have around the house. Things that I didn't touch for a year. Things I didn't touch for 6 months. If it's still brand new in the box, I put it on eBay and sold it. That's how I basically got started. Now, if I'm going to garage sales or estate sales, like the other day, about a month ago, we went to this neighborhood that had 20 plus garage sales in one neighborhood. That was great because I wound up getting a big old deal of 90 plus LuLaRoe dress items that was still brand new with tags that this one was getting rid of. And for 90 pieces, I got for $60.
Nice.
I already sold 3 pieces and made my money back. So things like that I like to do. But my ROI for me averages usually, I haven't done it in the last couple of months, but usually it's between 48% and 56% average. And that's what usually my ROI is.
Sure.
And again, my ROI may not work for you the way you want it to be. So it's always what you have to, basically on what you're doing and what you want to. And
that's profit too. A lot of folks don't calculate that. They go, 5 into 25, I made money. You're talking about spending 5 and making at least 50%, at least $7.50 or at least $10 on that $5. You're talking about tacking more on there. So like I said, you're got to be in that $40 range to really make it worth it. And
the longer you do this, the longer it's going to be better for you. The way you can quickly find something that you know is going to flip better. But when you're first starting out, you're going to have to do what's best for you to get your feet wet.
These are the lessons that we talked about. The $3, I bought this at the Goodwill. Oh yeah, someone's definitely going to buy this. Yeah, they're going to buy it for $10 and you just lost $2. But these are the lessons that go along when you're first starting. Exactly. This is an interesting question or a comment. My yard sale treasure map was hacked. It showed more in my area last Saturday than I've had in 10 years with warning on 99% of them. That's interesting that someone spammed up the Craigslist. Don't forget, as a good backup, a lot of people use Facebook Marketplace to advertise their yard sale. So don't solely rely on yard sale treasure map. Just put in yard sale on Facebook Marketplace, and you can definitely find some stuff there. It's not as clean and it's not as pre-mapped out as yard sale treasure map, but you could definitely hit the button on Facebook Marketplace and not ruin a complete weekend just. Someone was a jerk.
So I live in rural Iowa, and in my area, yard sale treasure maps, I'm lucky if there's more than 2 advertisements on yard sale treasure map. So a lot of the yard sales I get, yard sales are from the local newspaper website, the Globe Gazette. People advertise their yard sales on there, and then Facebook. So without Facebook and Globe Gazette, like my yard sale treasure map, I gotta go drive 2.5 hours south or 2.5 hours north to either Minneapolis or Des Moines to even get a good yard sale treasure map action. So I'm old school. Well, not so much Facebook, but like newspaper is the first place I go to. Because that's where everyone's in my geographic. My demographic is the older community. So that's where they're mostly going to still.
Now I want to share with those that are new, that are just starting out. Also, don't be afraid to go to your local flea market. because I have in the last couple of months I've sold bought like clue games or brand new, still sealed in the box. I bought it for $1 and sold it for $38.
Yeah, there's nothing
Don't
wrong
be
with
afraid
that.
to go to your flea markets, and you'll be surprised what you can find that is brand new, still sealed, and you can flip it for wonderful money.
Each area of sourcing represents a step prior and a step going forward.
Yep.
Facebook Marketplace is the latest and greatest, and we have the apps. I call them the apps, like Let Go and Nextdoor and all that stuff. These are steps, but at each one of those steps, not everybody made the transition. In my area, I'm in a major metropolitan city. Craigslist is still hot. People still use Craigslist. I mean, you're just as equal to get robbed on Craigslist today as you were 10 years ago. Craigslist has not cooled down. Facebook Marketplace and all these local things there's still people on them. Now I know in some areas people don't use Craigslist anymore, which is fine if you are not. But don't be so tied into one. Yeah, but don't be so tied into one where you go, oh, my yard sale treasure map doesn't work. Don't let it ruin your weekend. Use other avenues. You can source. You can totally source.
If you're looking, I mean, it depends on how much time you're putting into it. I'm full time. So from Thursday to Saturday, I'm out from 7 to 12 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. garage selling. That's what I'm doing. You know, I'm taking advantage because also in Iowa, we have seasons. So from November till March, it's snowing. We're not having garage sales.
Yeah.
So I have to take advantage of all the garage sales right now. Again, bulk up. That's why I'm always getting inventory, because when winter time comes, a lot of times now I have to depend on the thrift stores, and thrift stores. I mean, again, you lose your margins there. Yeah. But Facebook is another avenue now. So this winter, because I really didn't get heavy into Facebook until about March, like the really beginning of all what was going on with the whole virus and stuff. And I found that there's items on there. You just have to have your eyes on there more. So you could see somebody throw up a Nintendo 64 with 10 games for $30. And if you're late, if you see it 15 minutes after it's listed, it's gone.
It's gone, yeah.
So you gotta have your eyes on there. And so usually, I go to the marketplace like once every hour just to see what's newly listed in my area.
Yep.
And I'll scroll, boom, boom, boom. And so you have to be actively looking.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I thank you so much for having me on. I have to go meet my guy.
Yes.
I have a pickup from my guy. I got to meet him at 7:30. I got to go meet my guy at 7:30. So
thank you so much. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. And
thank you very, very much for introducing me to your lovely audience. They're much well behaved than my audience.
Before you leave, real quick, go ahead and put your link again one more time in the chat so you can
subscribe
to you. And that way you can check out his channel. And as I was going to say before, he was talking about his guy. Don't be afraid to start looking for people on Facebook, because I've made a connection where I already had 2 large big buys. Granted, I bought some things that might have been $15, but the profit margin's higher than the $2 and $3 and $5 items.
Right.
You may want to be able to step up if you can do it and buy those larger items, because it will make you more money.
Yep. Well, again, John, thank you very much,
and good luck with your guy.
Thank you very much. He should have a good load. I got to brave a tropical storm though. Not looking forward to it. But again, thank you guys so much for inviting me. Thank you so much. The pleasure was all mine. And to your audience, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful and prosperous and healthy week. Thanks, guys.
Peace, bro.
Bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye. So yeah, you definitely have to keep an eye on different things on different platforms, because you don't want to shoot down things in areas where you can also buy something to be able to flip to keep your business going.
Yeah.
You have to take out the box with, even though we're having this problem going on with the pandemic and the numbers are going back up and this, that, and the other. There's so many different avenues you can do to still make money and flip things for a good profit.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the money's out there. Again, you just have to be looking. I mean, the more you're looking for it, the more you'll find. You know?
Oh yes. You have to these days, because right now with things going on, you can't have garage sales, and some places don't do garage sales. I noticed in our area we might have maybe 1 or 2 every 2 weeks,
Wow.
So they're going to be few and far between because of everything going on,
Mhm.
but try to take advantage of what you can when you can.
For sure.
And don't be afraid to also do online auctions, because you can find some
That too.
great deals on your online auctions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For
Well, I
sure.
don't want to keep you too much longer, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time and coming to be with us today. And
Yes, sir.
if you would also put your link in the chat so that everybody can check you out and go see your channel.
Yeah, I think they let me see how you do it. Yeah, I think they already did. Somebody
And
already did
if you
it.
need to, it's also in the description bar below in the
Mhm.
video. I do put everyone who's our guest on my channel on their links into the description bar if you missed it.
Yep.
And so I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out and supporting the channel and showing your love to our guest. And so don't forget, this Wednesday, I will have Jody Bada Bing and Destiny, his girlfriend, on our live chat this Wednesday. So
Mhm.
come back out and check on them and see them and spend some time with them as well. And as I always say, I'll share the love, and we'll see y'all next time on the next show.
Perfect.